Welcome to the Queen of Pep Talks podcast. I am the Queen of Pep Talks, Jessica Battle, founder and CEO of the Join Jessica XO brand, where I coach, speak, and influence women to improve their mindsets so they can become happier, healthier, and more successful than ever before. I am obsessed with helping women create the unwavering ability to believe in themselves in order to achieve a life beyond their wildest dreams. Each week, I'll bring you a series of pep talks that will encourage you to break through your own limiting beliefs and help you develop the mindset that will allow you to show up in your life to the best of your ability. If you are looking to lose your own bullshit excuses, get out of your own way, and grow into your infinite potential, well then, you're in the right place. Are you with me? Let's dive in. Hello, my love, and welcome back to another episode of the Queen of Pep Talks podcast. Happy Monday. I hope that your week is off to the most fantastic start. I, as usual, am very excited for today's episode. I want to talk about a number of things business related. I want to start with a little pep talk around continuing to pursue your dreams. I want to talk about the algorithm on Instagram, and I also want to talk about protecting your business big picture. These are all things that are really top of mind for me right now. I see a lot of people talking about the Instagram algorithm, and if you're building a business in the online space, being seen and visibility is very important. And I know that for many people, it can be incredibly frustrating when they're feeling like they're showing up and putting in the work and nothing is happening. So why don't we start there on today's episode? Last week, I saw something on social media, and I think it was from Mel Robbins. I think. I could be wrong. She was basically saying something along the lines of, if it feels right now like you're showing up and working so hard for your dream, but you can't yet see it in front of you coming to fruition, you have to deepen your trust that it's already working. And she said it very different than that. But I, of course, when I hear something, it translates into a way that makes sense for me. And that was how I translated what she was saying. And it got me thinking a lot about the podcast. I went onto social media and I talked on my stories a little bit about how I'm so proud of the work that I'm putting in on the podcast this year and all of the work that I put in last year and all of the years that I put work into this podcast for the last 3 years. If you missed, by the way, Friday's episode, please go back and listen to it because you will get to hear me like literally on month one, like one of the first episodes that I actually released on the podcast. Please go back and listen to that because you will hear the transformation that has happened over the last 3 years. But I've been reflecting so much on the podcast and all of the work that I'm putting in here because I want to. Totally by choice because I want to, because I know that the big vision for my business is so much bigger than where we are now. I do believe that the podcast going on tour is something that is going to happen. I honestly see myself on TV one day, like having a daily talk show. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if that's how my life is going to play out, but it feels right now, all of the work that I'm putting into the podcast, we can use as an example. I'm putting in a lot of energy and a lot of effort and showing up really powerfully to create this dream that I can't even really yet see clearly. And the reward, right? I don't see the return yet on my time investment that is going into this platform. And it's really easy sometimes when we don't see the reward of what it is that we want. It's so easy to think this isn't working. What's the point of continuing? Why bother trying? And I really want to encourage you, if there's something that you're working so hard for right now, and you feel like you're showing up, you're being consistent, you're putting in the effort, you're giving it all that you got, but yet you don't see the result of your hard work in front of you yet, I want you to really work on deepening your trust within yourself that it is already working. It's already working. It's already happening. It's already unfolding. You just can't see it the way that you're desiring to see it yet. But that doesn't mean that there aren't indicators that it is working. I'm sure there are indicators, but it doesn't match your expectation. And so often in life, we have these big, great expectations for ourselves and what's going to come from certain things. And when our expectations aren't immediately met, like overnight, because we're so impatient as humans, we get frustrated and we end up feeling like this isn't working. Why bother? Please do not ask yourself, why bother? This dream matters to you. Please continue to show up and pursue it, because I promise you it is working. You have to deepen your trust in that. Okay. So how does that relate to the thing that I really want to spend my time talking about on this episode, which is the Instagram algorithm and protecting your business? A little bit different, but also coincide and connect with one another. You may feel right now frustrated by the fact that you are putting so much time and so much energy and so much effort into creating really valuable content for your ideal client and for your audience and for your community. I don't know how long it takes you to create content, but for me, from start to finish, between generating the idea, actually putting the post together, filming anything that I need to film, writing out the caption, bringing it all into the collective post, it takes me about an hour every day to create a piece of content for social media. I see that as one of the most important parts of running my business, especially when we're generating sales from social media. It can feel really frustrating when you're putting a lot of time and energy and effort into creating content for your social media, and it feels like nobody is seeing it. It feels like nobody is paying attention. Even worse, it feels like nobody gives a fuck. How many times have you asked yourself, like, oh my gosh, I'm creating this content, but does anyone care? Because nobody's engaging with it. Nobody is reading it. Nobody is liking it. Nobody is sharing it. I understand that frustration. The first thing that I want to say before we dive into the reasons why you won't hear me complain about the algorithm, the first thing that I want to say is there are people watching you who you have no idea who they are. You've never seen them engage with the post. You've never seen them comment. You've never seen them share. They've never sent you a DM. There are people who are watching you today, right now, who will be watching you tomorrow, next week, next month, who have never said a word to you about how impactful your words are, your business is, your content is on their life. I shared this story previously on another episode, but in case you missed it, I will quickly recap the story of the time that I went to Ocean City. I was there and I was walking on the boardwalk and I wanted to get some fudge. Chris and I went into a fudge shop. The woman who worked there had been following me on Instagram for quite some time. And she said to me, oh my gosh, you've helped me change my life. You've helped me lose 60 pounds. My life is so different because of you. Thank you for being such a source of inspiration. She wanted to take a picture together. We took a picture. She sent me a message on Instagram with the picture. She had literally never sent me a DM before. I had never seen her Instagram handle. I had never spoken to her before, not a single day in my life. But yet the content that I was sharing, it played a big role in helping her create the change that she wanted to create in her life. And I had no idea. There are people out there watching you right now who you have no idea even exist. And your content, your voice, the things that you share, the conversations that you create, the content that you put out into the world, it is making an impact on them. And I promise you that one day those people are going to start to come out of the woodworks and hire you to be the coach who changes their life. Do not quit just because you don't see the immediate gratification that you're desiring. I know it feels frustrating sometimes when Instagram engagement is low or the algorithm feels like it's just not on your side. And we get into a really negative headspace of complaining about this and focusing all of our time and attention on it. It's not something that has never crossed my mind. Of course, I'm like frustrated when posts that used to get thousands of likes are now getting like a couple of hundred or even 100. That still happens on my page and on my platform. It's not because I don't create good content. It's just sometimes the algorithm isn't working in our favor. We can either give our attention to that or we can give our attention to the things that we can actually control. So let's talk about the reasons why you will never hear me complain about the algorithm or even talk about it unless I'm trying to inspire you to shift your perspective around it. Reason number one is that there's not a lot that I can do to change it. I am not the owner or creator of Instagram. There's not a lot that I can do other than the types of content that I engage with, the hashtags that I use that will help Instagram know who to show my content to. Outside of doing those things, which I'm doing, engaging with accounts that are relevant for me and my niches and the things that I talk about, and using hashtags that are relevant to the content that I am creating. Those are the only things that I can do. Right? I don't spend a lot of my time and energy because it is so precious and it is so limited. I don't spend it on things that I cannot control. I believe that complaining is literally wasted time. So am I going to spend my time and my energy there? No. Does it mean that I'm perfect and I never complain? Of course not. I am a human, and I'm not saying that you're wrong if you ever complain, but what are you focused on? Where are you giving your time and your energy and your attention? Is it to things that you can't do anything to control? If so, you might want to rethink, is this actually a valuable place for me to be spending my time and energy? Couldn't you be spending that energy somewhere else, more productive in your life and or in your business? I'm going to go out on a limb and bet yes, you could be spending it in a more productive way. The second reason that you will never hear me complain about the algorithm is because I believe that social media is literally a fucking gift. And while you are so busy, and maybe it's not you, if it's not you, don't take it personally. While you're so busy complaining about the fact that only a few people saw what you posted, I'm thinking about how lucky we are to have access to people all over the world while running our businesses on social media. I think about this a lot. This was a thought that I had probably about a year ago, and it's really stuck with me since I had this thought. If I owned a brick and mortar store here in Delaware, where I live, in the town that I live in, Delaware, how difficult would it be for me to get the number of people who view my stories or view my posts to actually walk through the front door of my building? It would be much more difficult than it is for me to show up on social media and post. The costs of running a brick and mortar store are a lot more than the $0 that it costs to run your business on social media. So perspective is powerful. I encourage you to shift your perspective and see social media as the literal gift that it is, and understand that you're in a very fortunate place right now to have the ability to share content with people all over the world. You don't have to worry about finding people and being out on the streets marketing or hanging flyers or getting in the yellow pages or all of the things that I don't even know what it takes to run a brick and mortar store. But I do know that social media is a gift. And if you choose to focus on the negative things that you feel around social media, that's how you're going to feel around it. If you choose to see it as a literal fucking gift, you're going to see it as a gift, and you're going to feel really fortunate for the fact that you have access to a social media account where you can connect with people all over the world in any given day. Someone from across the country, someone from across the world, someone who you have no idea exists can find you, love you, follow you, hire you, all in a matter of seconds. Running a business in your small town would look very different, right? Yeah. The third reason that I don't allow the algorithm to piss me off or upset me is because I am focused on the big picture. Yes, social media is a part of my business, but it's just that. It's a single part of my business. And this is what I want to talk a little bit more about when we talk about protecting your business. But if I'm so zoomed in on social media being the only part of my business, then yeah, I'm probably going to feel frustrated when things on social media change. But I know that my business is so much bigger than social media. I'm very zoomed out, and I'm focused on the big picture of who I am, what I stand for, and how that translates into the world beyond just a social media app. I'm thinking about my podcast. I'm thinking about my speaking career. I'm thinking about the books that I'm going to be writing in the future. I'm thinking about taking the podcast on tour. I'm thinking about the women's conferences that I'm going to create. I'm thinking about literally being on television. That's where my mind is dreaming, not thinking, oh my gosh, only a few people saw me on social media. It's my belief that if social media views are getting your panties in a bunch, you're probably thinking and dreaming way too small within your business. But I also want to say, you might be in a place right now where thinking about social media it's just where you are. That's okay. There are seasons for all of us. And just because I'm dreaming big and thinking about being on TV one day doesn't mean that that's where you're supposed to be. It doesn't mean that that's where you have to be now or ever. You may only want a business on social media. Do I think that's the smartest thing in the world? No. But again, my opinion is my opinion, and you don't have to agree with it. I do think that it's important that we are diversifying ourselves across different platforms and in different places, because as you guys witnessed, my social media literally got taken from me. For almost 48 hours, I didn't have my social media account. Could I start over? Yeah, of course. But it also matters to me to know that I am connected with my people on other platforms. Okay. And the fourth reason that I'm not going to complain about social media is because I'm focused on who is here, not who isn't here. When you are really focused on engagement being low, likes being low, comments being low, people not engaging with you the way that you want them to, and you're publicly sharing that with your audience, What are you saying to the people who are there, to the people who are watching, to the people who are liking, to the people who are engaging, to the people who are commenting, who are sharing, who are responding? What are you saying to them when you say, oh my God, nobody is liking my stuff? Like, what the fuck, Instagram? Why aren't you showing my content to anybody? The people who are watching, they're like, well, she must think I'm not enough because I'm engaging, I'm commenting, I'm liking, I'm sharing, I'm engaging with her. Does that mean that I am not enough? So I choose to personally appreciate the people who are there and who are connected with me and who are engaging. I choose to appreciate them and focus on them rather than the people who aren't there. This is a big shift that I had to make when I wanted to shift from a scarcity lack mindset to a mindset of abundance and feeling like what I have is already enough. We can all always focus on what we don't have in our lives. That's easy. It's easy for us to look at what we don't have and think, oh my gosh, what I have right now is not enough. I just need to have X, Y, Z before I can feel better in my life or be successful or whatever. We can all do that. It's much more difficult to shift your attention and focus to what is here and what we should be grateful for and what we do have. That is the focus that I choose to take because number one, it makes me feel better, but also number two, it makes me more successful because I'm focused on what is working and what is here instead of giving all of my precious, limited, like I said, time, energy, and attention to the things that aren't working. It's a matter of choice, and you always have the decision to decide where are you going to put your focus, okay? So if the Instagram algorithm is frustrating you right now, I want you to know that you're not alone in that. There are a lot of people who are frustrated by the Instagram algorithm. Do what you can to control it, right? Engage with accounts that are like your ideal client or serve a similar audience to you. Connect with people who are in a similar industry to you. Use the right hashtag so that Instagram knows where to direct your content, but let the rest go because if you can't control it, why are you going to spend your precious time, energy, and attention focused on it? That's not valuable for you, and it's definitely not valuable for your business. That being said, I do think that big picture, and I remember having this conversation with my coach like 2 years ago, probably. I was saying to her, like, do you think about the big picture of your business and where it's going beyond just social media? Because I believe social media is a fucking gift and how incredible that we can build multiple 6-figure, 7-figure, even 8-figure businesses on social media. What a gift. I also want to think about where else am I going to be showing up in my business? Because social media doesn't feel predictable for me. And again, I'm not a social media expert. I don't study social media, but I do know that I don't trust putting all of my eggs in one basket ever, which is why my eggs are strategically placed in all of these different baskets where I have the podcast and now I'm working on my speaking career. Next up will be my book. And of course, yes, I have social media, but I also have my Facebook community. Like we get to spread ourselves across different platforms so that we can stay connected to our people. If for some reason things were to go left and you were to lose your social media account. What are a few of the ways that you can protect your business if you're primarily using social media to run it? Number one, if you're using Instagram, turn on your 2-factor authentication, please. This will stop people from being able to hack into your account because it will send you a text when it wants to get into your account, and you will have to, from your phone, approve that you're going to let someone into your account by giving them a verification code. I was hacked. Does anyone remember when I was hacked? If you were here when I was hacked, you know. Probably one of the funniest stories ever. My Instagram account was hacked the year that I met Chris. We were getting ready to go on our first vacation and I was busy packing. So this was April of 2015. We were getting ready to go on our first vacation. We met in 2014. I ghosted him. We got together. We went on our vacation. I was packing for the trip and I started getting all these text messages from people and they were like, what is going on with your account? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they sent me a screenshot and it was a naked white man. Like a naked white man had his penis out on my Instagram account. And my sister-in-law sent me this joke. She was like, haha, we know that this wasn't you because that's not your type. She knows that I have a type. And if you know my husband, you can go ahead and make an assumption around that. But my account was hacked. I don't even remember how I ended up getting it back. But yes, your account can be hacked. Turn on 2-factor authentication. Other ways that I think about protecting my business right now, building an email list, because that is actually yours. No one can come in and swipe your email list from you. It is something that is yours. Someone could come tomorrow. There's a new scam account of me on Instagram right now. And unfortunately, they're messaging a lot of you. So if you guys are seeing this account and they're messaging you or they're following you, it is not me. Their handle is join_Jessica_dot.xo. That is not me. But the reality is with social media, a scam account could be created and somehow convince Instagram that I am the fake and my account could get deleted. We've seen accounts be deactivated, deleted for literally no reason. And then you have to start over from zero. And I'm not saying starting over from zero would be the worst thing in the world, but is it something that you want to do if you could avoid doing it? That answer is probably no. But if you had to do it, how can you also make sure that you're connected with your people? Get them on an email list, create a freebie, get them on an email list, incentivize them, do specials for an email list where you offer special pricing. There are so many different ways that you can build your email list, but make sure that you're directing people to other platforms to be connected with you. And again, if you're on day one in your business and you're like, I'm barely mastering social media, this doesn't feel like it's relevant for me, then maybe it's not relevant for you right now. Have the ability to understand when the time is right for you to do things versus just trying to do everything all at once. Master what you're doing right now, but these are things that we want to be thinking about big picture. If we're truly running businesses, we have to truly run them like businesses. And for me, a business is run far bigger than just Instagram. Get on other platforms, create a YouTube account or get a podcast, create a way to connect with your people in a really intimate way beyond just social media. Those are the things that I'm really thinking about. And you might even want to be taking a step back and asking yourself, what is the big vision that I have for myself? Does it include speaking? Does it include writing a book? Does it include in-person conferences and events? What does it look like big picture for you? Because those are important things to think about. Social media, we have no idea how long it's going to be here. I believe it'll probably be around forever, but we have no idea how things are going to change and how things are going to shift. And a part of entrepreneurship is being able to keep up with that. But at the same time, if you really want to protect your business, diversify yourself and get on different platforms and find different ways to connect with your people so that you won't be, I'm not frustrated by social media algorithm because I'm like, my people are listening on the podcast. My podcast listens are going up. Instagram views are going down. Like, okay, fine. It's just a part of the business. And not everything is always going to be growing at the same time. There are going to be parts of it that frustrate us, but it shouldn't frustrate us to the point that we're like, throw in the towel, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. That should not be your attitude over social media, right? You should be excited about the fact that you have a place to connect with people, but also take a step back and think bigger picture. How else do you want to connect with your people beyond just the social media app? Okay. So moral of the story from this podcast episode, don't you dare fucking quit on your goals and your dreams, even if you don't see things coming to fruition. Do not get your panties in a bunch over the social media algorithm and think about how can you protect your business beyond just social media. Where else do you want to connect with your audience? Where else do you want to give them a place to access you, to access the information that you share? Because it's going to be really valuable for you to do that big picture in your business. Okay. I love you guys to absolute pieces. If you have not already, it would mean the world to me if you left a rating and review on the Queen of Pep Talks podcast. I deeply appreciate you. That is how we are going to grow the show in 2023. It will help new listeners find the message that I share here on the podcast with you. And Lord knows how many women are out there who could use a pep talk from the Queen herself. Okay. I love you so very much. And I'll talk to you on the next episode of the Queen of Pep Talks podcast. See you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you were inspired by today's pep talk, be sure to share it with me by leaving a rating and review on iTunes so I can keep the encouragement coming your way. I hope you know that your support in helping me grow the podcast this year, it means so much to me. If we aren't already connected on social media, head over to Join Jessica XO on Instagram or join the Join Jessica XO free Facebook community for even more content that will inspire you to show up in your life to the best of your ability. Make sure you check out the show notes of today's episode for links to freebies, upcoming opportunities to work with me, and ways that we can stay connected outside of the podcast. I love you so much, and I cannot wait to chat with you on the next episode of the Queen of Pep Talks podcast. In the meantime, go fuck this day up in the best way possible.